Oh, yeah?
Can't beat
Costco.
the prices of Costco birthday cake.
That's fair. Can't beat prices of much Costco.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Well, like I said, thanks for coming in.
Of
And I'm
course.
pretty pumped to talk to you
Yeah.
because I don't know a whole lot about chiropractic, care and practice.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who go to chiropractors. I know people who've gone and maybe say it's not for them. I've been fortunate, at least, when you think of the traditional chiropractic care, oh, my back.
Yeah. Yep.
I've never really had back issues.
Yeah.
So it leads me to never really have gone
Yeah.
to a chiropractor. I've gotten adjusted.
Yeah. I was going to say you were an athlete, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a woman in Austin, Dr. Rachel Benson, who I think she's a chiropractor, but she also maybe is a licensed massage therapist.
Okay. Yeah.
And I had an issue with my calf. And so she would she was kind of working on that. And then she'd be like, want me to adjust you? I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
sure. And
You're there.
it always felt
anyways.
great. It's just like I never had an issue. So I didn't know exactly what it did. But
Yeah.
lots to talk about.
Yeah.
And before we get into it, just give a little background on yourself. I think I read you're not from the area, right?
Yeah. I was born in Colorado, raised in Washington State. Did a little stint in not California, Canada, actually, because my dad's from Canada. My mom's from the UK. They met each other in Canada and for some reason came to the US and then they had me. So.
And you were born in the US?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So grew up on the West Coast. Loved it. Went to college in Colorado because I wanted sunshine. Washington State's similar to upstate New York, in which we get a specific number of sunny days in the year. So definitely wasn't expecting to end up here. But it's a fun journey. And I found chiropractic in Colorado while I was in undergrad. And then
Where did you go to undergrad?
Colorado State.
Oh, cool.
University in Fort Collins.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was super fun. And then I got my doctorate in Atlanta, Georgia at Life University.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did it click that you're like, hey, chiropractic care is maybe something I want to pursue?
Yeah.
You don't need to be, do you need to be a doctor?
Yeah.
You do?
You have to have a doctorate.
Oh.
You have to have a bachelor's and then another 4 years for a doctorate. Yeah.
Okay. So that, checks out. So when you knew you were going to pursue it, you're like, I have to get my doctorate.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew I wanted a doctorate. I just was thinking I was going to do pediatric dentistry, actually. And then I explored that and I watched a family dentist fit a crown for like 30 minutes. And I was like, nope. And so, yeah, then I started interning at this chiropractic office and I hated it. It was terrible. The guy sucked and it was just a horrible experience. And then I went to a different one and I fell in love with it. So it just shows you that it's not necessarily the profession, it's the people. So
that's a great point.
Yeah.
And any time while you were at the first place where you're like, I don't know if I want to do this.
Yeah, definitely. It questioned.
I would imagine.
Yeah, it was very treatment based, which is like you talk about the typical chiropractic. Like my back hurts, let me lay on a rolly table, get some heat pads on there, and then get adjusted. And the other office was like a family practice where they specialized in kids as well as adults in what's called corrective care. So they would take x-rays. We mark x-rays with very specific measurements. And then for adults, you adjust them based on what you're seeing structurally as well as what's happening symptomatically in their life. And so the results of that is really stinking cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So after that second experience, you're like, oh,
yeah,
this is what I want to do. Is that what you've sort of modeled your practice
100%.
off of?
Yeah, it's the exact model because I actually was fortunate enough to work for my mentor during chiropractic school to develop a coaching group with her. So I got to be her like little shadow assistant through all of chiropractic school and learn all of her systems and operating procedures while I was in school. So then when I came out, I interned with her and then I opened my own.
That's cool. You still keep in touch?
Oh, yeah. I love her.
Yeah.
She's my favorite.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was such a wide variety of ways you can kind of run your practice. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I'm sure medical practice is similar, like, your doctor, your pediatrician, but also even just how you run, if you have a pediatric office, how you run it. But you don't have to actually label yourself as something different, or do you? Like how? Like if you're just going to be like, hey, someone signs up, heat pad, adjust them, see you later.
Yeah.
As opposed to, you're taking exercise, you're doing all these things. Is that a special label?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different techniques. Like I don't know, PTs is a good example because like you have your ortho PTs, you've got your pelvic floor PTs, you've got your pediatric PTs. So we practice a specific technique called CBP, which is chiropractic biophysics. So it looks at structural correction in adults. So the beauty of that is we get to be very specific and intentional with that initial process because they're coming in, we're doing the consult, the exam, we're doing a lot of different neurological testings. Are you familiar with like heart rate variability? Have you heard of that technology?
No,
Yeah.
I mean,
Like the Whoop or the Aura Ring. I always
oh
use
yeah,
that as an
for
example because
sure.
those are like constant heart rate variability
Yes.
monitors. So we do a version of that that's more in depth in there, along with digital x-rays that we have in-house too. And then we kind of formulate recommendations based on what we see and then what they're feeling to get not only symptom relief, but better function and optimize their lifestyle, essentially.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, want to kind of dive into that a little more, but take us back a little bit. So
Yeah.
when you graduated,
hmm
right, you got your doctorate. Were you like, I'm starting my own practice?
Um,
Or were you
yes and
like, maybe
no.
I'll go under
Yeah.
someone's umbrella? Also, we'll probably to Syracuse.
My husband.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah,
I met
makes
him in
sense.
chiropractic school. He obviously went to Atlanta too, and we had our son at the end of chiropractic school. So we were like, I want to open a business. He's actually a third generation chiropractor. So
Oh,
he wanted to go and fulfill his legacy with working with his dad. And so I was like, oh yeah, that'd be awesome because we have his mom who's absolutely wonderful and she watches our little one. But I was like, if we do it, I want to do my own thing. Like I know exactly what I want to do. And so when we decided to come here, that was kind of the vision there. But before we actually were in Colorado and we were planning to stay. So,
oh, so when you graduated, you went to
mhm.
Colorado. How
Yeah,
long were you there post grad?
only 6 months.
Oh,
Yeah.
quick turnaround.
Yeah, because we were planning on going a different direction and working with my mentor, and it didn't stars didn't align. You
Yeah.
know, it was nothing negative. It was just not our calling.
So you work with your husband now, or no?
Yes and
Well,
no.
he was.
Yeah.
I seemed like there's pictures of him on the
Yeah,
website. That's
yeah.
why.
He
But you're
works
also
with
talking about how
me
he would work with his dad.
part time. He's with me like 2 half days a week, and then he's with him and his dad run the office where they are full time, basically. Yeah.
Competitors.
No, we're 30 minutes apart.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
We see a lot of different demographics. They see a lot of general population, and we see like I would say active. We have like over 70 kids we see, and over 120 adults. So it's a good balance. We see a lot of whole families, which is the coolest part of the job, in my opinion.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I didn't even realize before I had kids that a kid would go to a chiropractor.
Oh yeah.
Kind of funny to think about, like a little kid
100%.
getting adjusted. I mean, not only like a 2-year-old, but like, we brought our like 4-month-old or 2 or whatever,
Yeah.
pretty young.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's helped tremendously. I mean, this
So
was
cool.
a couple years ago. I think of like a story with my son. He's like 1.5, maybe a little older, and he walked at 10 months or
Yep.
11 months or whatever, and he all of a sudden just stopped walking and would like kind of cry.
Hmm.
And we're like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah.
After we gave it a day,
Yeah.
and the next day we're like, something's not right. We bring him to the pediatrician. She's like, his ears look like there could be fluid in. Like, she's like, bring him to the chiropractor,
Mm.
see if they can, do anything. And we I forget the name of the chiropractor's name. But she, my wife really enjoyed, going to her, and we bring my son there,
Mhm.
and she gives him a little adjustment. She kind of gives him the test, gives him a little adjustment. She's like, when she did the adjustment, he literally goes, whoa.
Oh, that's so cute.
And that day he started walking again, a little wobbly,
Mhm.
but he started walking, and she's like, in a couple of days, he's fine.
It's cool.
And yeah,
Cool.
it was like a miracle
Yeah.
almost, right?
We have a saying in chiropractic: the power that made the body heals the body. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. But yeah, so and then I think back to even when he was younger, we brought him when he was younger because he was having issues with like sleeping, with
Yeah.
gas and things like that. And there's just so many different things it seems like that a chiropractic care can offer, or an office. Like,
Yeah.
talk about some of those things, especially for kids, because I think unless you have a kid who's been there, you don't really know.
No, it's true. And what's cool with social media is that like everything is becoming more available for everyone. So there's a lot of really cool education there, and we're seeing more and more families who are finding out about us because of social media, and they're like, oh, kids go to chiropractor. I mean, beginning of life. What's cool is we see a lot of like 3-day olds.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think
Yeah, I
about
mean, I
it
would say
like
super
after
young,
the
right? Yeah.
hospital, like, or wherever they give birth, they're like, oh yeah, I got to go take my baby to the chiropractor. People are like, you are nuts. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't all look anything like
No,
that.
I know. Well, that's what I mean. That's what I thought of. But then Alyssa's like,
Exactly.
no, it's not like that at all.
Yeah, and it just sets them up better for life because birth, regardless of how smooth or complicated it goes, they're coming out head first. So it's a lot of tension on the upper neck and their body, especially at the end term of pregnancy, because they get pretty big, and mom obviously loses space to accommodate them, so they're stuck in a certain position for a while before labor and delivery happens. So it's a lot of tension and pressure on their body starting out in life. So the adjustment is beautiful because it allows us to help reduce that tension and pressure and allow their body to thrive on basically outside of mom. We see a lot of improvements with torticollis. You hear that usually like when your kiddo comes out and has a head preference, so they turn to one side versus the other when they're sleeping, when they're in the car seat. Latching and nursing, we see a lot of parents to help support their feeding journey as well as colic. Just overall sleep too. It's great for just thriving. It's preventative is what a lot of these parents are doing at around 3 days old, is just to set them up from the beginning to have optimal health.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. It's like preventative.
Yeah.
Because you probably didn't even touch on some of the things it does.
Mm-hmm.
Your body's all one.
Yeah.
Right. So one thing goes wrong, another thing can go wrong.
Yeah.
That's a good way. That's a good way of putting it. But talk a little bit more about that was also the trauma, but when you're coming out as a baby
Mm-hmm.
and the, pressure on your neck and things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where if you can adjust them, like how is that different from an adult adjustment? Or is it not? It's just done a different way.
It's like a yes, no.
Okay.
Because completely different technique. A lot of it's very tonal based. So with adults, we think of osseous, which means bone adjustments, right? You're thinking of the snap, crackle, pop. Yeah. Because you're like, okay, relieve pressure on that nerve. You hear what we call a cavitation, which is when gas is released from the joint. And that's what that like popping noise is. Sometimes people get addicted to it. They're like, it didn't pop. You're like, well, that's not the point.
Not necessarily going to do it every time.
The kiddo adjustment is tonal. So we're working on dural attachments in their spine. And we have dural attachments at the top and the bottom of our spine. So the base of our skull and then our sacrum, which is right next to our pelvis. So our pelvis is like our little heart shape, and then our sacrum sits right there. Oftentimes after birth, there's tension on those areas, which impact their body's ability to down-regulate, meaning tap into that parasympathetic part of the nervous system, which is that rest, digest, heal, grow, which is all they should be concerned about doing, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing the baby should do. So the adjustment helps reduce the tension and near those dural attachments and allow their body to down-regulate and those nerves to function well. So like top of the head, for example, or top of the neck is where all those nerves to those accessory feeding muscles for babies go. So a lot of times babies will struggle to latch, they'll struggle to nurse, whether it's a bottle or a boob, doesn't matter, but it's because there's so much tension up there that those nerves can't communicate, so they can't coordinate their feeding muscles in order to eat properly and not have reflux or, choke on their food, stuff like that.
And how, does it typically take, doesn't take very long, right?
No, I would say an infant adjustment is longer than an adult adjustment, but it would take, between 5 and 10 minutes.
And what about between an infant and an adult?
Yeah.
Right. What else is common? Is it, like I said, it was 1.5, my son went.
Yeah.
And it was very helpful. But
ear infections, like you said, that's a big
and that's
one.
up to about 4 or 3, right?
Whenever we see adults with chronic ear infections.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, typically, right? You think of the tubes in the ears when they're younger.
Yeah.
But do you see 10-year-olds? Do you see 15-year-olds?
Mm-hmm.
And is it different?
Yeah. The adjustment changes as the
okay.
spine matures. We always focus on parasympathetics in all range of kids because in this world we're like basically bred to fight or flight, right? We go, 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 and we don't stop. So if we can support their bodies in down regulating and being able to navigate the world, that's the goal. When we say like 10-year-olds, we see a lot of like constipation, bedwetting. Some parents, like I said, they no issues at all. They're just like, they seem to struggle with concentrating and like they get upset a lot and they aren't able to calm themselves. That's a big common one we see that adjustments support because it helps them regulate better. So when they get upset, because everyone gets upset, they can have those tools within their own body to calm down by themselves. So that's a big one for that age. And then like our teens, that one's a hard one because we do take x-rays on some teens who have, chronic complaints, and I'm terrified for our future generations.
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
because their necks look worse than like our 40, 50-year-olds just because our world is so technology focused. Yep. Yeah.
Interesting.
So a lot of that age, and we see a lot of the athletes, and it's postural, which turns into structural, because if you practice the habit over and over again, your spine remembers and it changes to accommodate it. So.
Interesting. So it's even more important at a young age to kind of set them up.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously there are things, lifestyle, that impacts that.
Yeah, I'm sure. And that was something I wanted to talk about from an adult standpoint, which I think I'll still mention. But it's just interesting how you say, like, from each age group, they can just, it slightly changes, right? There are different aspects of their life. Is it for teenagers? Is it hard because they're growing? No, it doesn't really affect.
No, yeah, it doesn't, because it's
growth plates open, don't do anything.
No, yeah, because you're not doing anything like wild to impact growth plates or anything like that. If anything, you're actually helping their spine as they grow to like grow correctly and to have better nerve function. Because we see a lot of kids who parents have concerns of scoliosis, right? And that's like peak growth age. We see kids who shoot up, right? And you're like, okay, parents will notice one day, oh, they're walking weird, or like maybe a nurse at the school check is like, oh, there's maybe a curve there. So the goal of the adjustment in those kids is to help encourage more of a neutral spine while they grow. So scoliosis isn't a concern when they reach spinal maturity.
Is scoliosis something that's like hereditary? Or genetic?
That's a yes, no again.
Or is some of it is like environmental, leaning over your chair, like just bad habits?
Yeah, there's structural scoliosis or functional scoliosis. So structural means spine, right? Like this is something where functional, it's like you bend over and it changes, versus if you bend over with structural, it does not change, indicating that could potentially be hereditary or some kind of trauma when they were really little set off a ripple effect essentially within their spine. It's
never corrected it.
Yeah, it's hard because we see some kids, and honestly, I want to say referencing like someone late 40s, early 50s, who we took x-rays of, never had x-rays before, 100% has scoliosis, lived her whole life with it. Zero idea. Just now it's starting to affect her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But like she had kids, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's impressive, the adaptability and the resilience of the body, because we can live through and adapt to a lot of things.
But how is that unwinding 40 years of scoliosis? I can only imagine.
Yeah, I mean,
that's probably not an easy path for her.
No, but she's doing amazing, because we're not at that age. Everything's fused, right? This is 50 years of this. Your body wants stability, and that's why it grows more bone to create stability and structure, so that it leaves our body less vulnerable for accidents, basically. Yeah. So the goal with her is not correction. It's to support her body and her nervous system, and she's killing it. Like she's on year 2 of just wellness adjustments, and she's never felt better.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Renewal by Andersen of Central New York, the #1 window and door company in America. Winter is coming, and there's no better time to upgrade. Their energy-efficient windows keep warm in, the cold out, and your energy bills low. Schedule your free consultation today by clicking the link in the show notes. For parents, what are some signs? We talk about preventative, right? No signs really, just setting your kid up for success. But what are some signs of like scoliosis or something that, having chiropractic care early can really help prevent, or just some things to look out for.
Are you talking about like in that like
Like
10-year-old range?
Well, you're just talking about like, oh, you can notice that they're kind of leaning to one side, or, you know, that's a good example.
Yeah.
Like, hey, that doesn't look right.
So posture is a big thing. Like even, and it's like a problem, honestly, in chiropractors, they'll watch people walk because it's just like ingrained in your brain. But watching your kids
like
walk,
you're
like, wow.
God, buddy.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I've never like tapped anyone on the shoulder and done that. No. I just keep it quiet. I'm just like, that's fine.
Keep it to yourself.
Yeah, I would say posture is, and also like how they're doing in sports. Like, are they getting chronically injured? Like when they shouldn't be? Like, are they able to use their body the way they should? Are their biomechanics performing correctly? Could it be structural? Because we see kiddos with chronic re-injuries and they're like, what?
Like what's a typical injury?
Why? I mean, really
like,
anything, because your spine is the foundation, like your spine and your pelvis. That
kind of
anything like exactly. So like you could take a hit in a hockey game, let's say, and they're out for a couple months. They're back. Same thing happens again. Yeah. And you've strengthened the muscle groups. You've done the things, but if you're not addressing the balance of the spine and the nervous system, it's going to keep happening.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because realistically, I mean, you talk about how resilient the body is, especially a 10-year-old body.
Yeah.
I mean, a 10-year-old being hurt, you know, is, you know, one thing to be, ow, cry for a minute, hurt my knee, but usually they're back in an hour running up and down. So if they're getting hurt, you know, it's something. And that's a great point to maybe.
Well, and you can even watch them. Proprioception is another good example. Like, if they're like looking at the ball and trying to kick it and it's just like, what? It's like that's part of the nervous system. That's that like, it's like hand-eye coordination, but it's also like, are those nerves firing well enough to get that signal to that muscle so that they have not only speed, but accuracy? You know, like a lot of, I mean, sure, you know, a lot of the highest paid athletes, they see a chiropractor, and it's not because they have issues. It's because they want that cutting edge performance. They want that reaction time and that recovery time to be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because like you think of your kid not being able to kick a ball well. You're like, well look at genetics a little bit. Yeah, it's like, well, were you good at kicking the ball? Because if you weren't good either, then maybe it's not necessarily something wrong. But if you were a field goal kicker and your kid can't kick it, then maybe there's something.
Yeah, or they get concussions, like that rocks you, right? And that's trauma to the upper neck, and we see a lot of mood dysregulation come from that, right? Because we have our vagus nerve passes right through that top bone in our spine, and you're probably familiar with the vagus nerve, I would assume. Maybe?
Not really.
No. I call it the Mac Daddy of the nervous system because it controls things like heart rate, respiration, blood pressure, but it's also mood regulation, sleep quality, that kind of stuff. It goes all the way from the base of your head down to your pelvic floor. And it's quite the network. So any kind of trauma to the upper neck, which again pertains to infants up to adults, is going to greatly impact your body's what we call autonomics. So like, things we don't think about, we just do.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. And I was fortunate in my athletic career, never really had an issue with concussions, playing football and lacrosse. Mm-hmm. However, I did get a concussion when I was like 25, 26. I was living in Austin and I was playing in a men's league lacrosse game. Mm-hmm. And, I was this like football player who wasn't very good at lacrosse, and I shot, he hit me a little late. And I didn't notice at the time, right? I just kind of bounced up.
Yeah.
But it was a hard hit. I knew that. And, I still played, whatever. And then like the next day, it was brutal. It was brutal. And it gave me kind of an appreciation because people are like, oh, we're concussed. Like if you never had a concussion, you don't really know.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like, I'm never playing in this men's league ever again. I'm 26. I like hang it up.
Not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Not worth it at all. But it was interesting. And now, you're talking about that's kind of what affects it.
Yeah.
So do you recommend, all right, even if, athletes, let's say they've had, especially high school, sometimes I remember kids getting to Syracuse who weren't allowed to play. Like they got recruited for lacrosse, but they had too many concussions. So the training office wouldn't let them play for Syracuse. It was like a liability.
Yeah.
And so they had to transfer.
Yeah.
So you do see people who I think are prone to it.
Yeah.
And you think that can be kind of prevented early on?
I don't think prevented because you get hit in the head hard enough, and nothing's gonna change that. Okay. But I mean, yeah, that's a whole other issue. But,
Yeah.
Adjustments can support healing post-concussion and help them with like emotional regulation and stuff like that. Cause we see a lot of stories about, football players are a good example. They get hit in the head a crap ton.
Yeah.
And then, they've got mental issues.
Yeah. Like CTE.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
CT is a big one. Yeah, my husband struggled with that. He found, obviously, chiropractic. He already had been adjusted, but functional neurology through a chiropractor that actually helped him recover from CTE and like get back his life, basically. So
Was he from like getting hit?
yeah, yeah,
Was he an athlete?
yeah. He was a football player.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one thing about football. It's
A
just
lot of
crazy.
head trauma.
Yeah, and they're
Mhm.
trying to make moves, but then you like watch a playoff game this weekend and you look at how hard they hit each other and you're like, dude, that's still gonna be still gonna do some damage, you gotta imagine. But
yeah, absolutely.
I think they're coming a long way. You see them wear those guardian caps too.
Those
like
are cool looking.
Yeah. Now they're wearing them in games and they try to like match the helmet.
Yeah. That's
Anything they could,
good.
yeah, what does it matter? Who cares?
Because
It
you
doesn't,
need
like,
a
slow 'em
life after
down.
the game. Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing more sad than seeing,
Yeah.
a great player who all of a sudden is
It's
like
just
going
in
off the rails.
pieces.
Yeah, and it's just it's tough.
Yeah.
But moving on to adults
Yeah.
in chiropractic care. Like I said, I haven't really been to a chiropractic office. I've got adjusted once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like the consensus when I talk to people
Yeah.
is some people swear by it and love it or like need it or whatever,
Mhm.
go a good amount. And then you got some people who are like, it wasn't really for me.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think of like, obviously there's gonna be some people who like it because there wouldn't be any offices, no one did. But the people who don't, right? They're like, it's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's typically, is that attributed to they have like the wrong chiropractor? Like, you're talking about your first practice.
Yeah.
Like, is it that? Is it they went for the wrong reason or they had the wrong expectations? And when I say like expectation, I mean, I have all these terrible habits I've had for 20 years. I go see Dr. Sam. You do what you can in a half hour or however long it is. And then I go back to my crappy habits and be like, it didn't do anything. Like,
Yeah.
is, that type of expectation, like there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Quick
Like you're not going to,
fix.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, when I say that, like, what do you think that typically is when people don't have that good experience?
I
Not
think
good
it's,
experience.
I think
don't
it's all of the above.
Okay.
Like, because everyone understands and interprets it differently, right? Some people are like, oh, I'm not going to go because once I start, I can never stop, right? And it's like, yeah, I guess that's up to you. But also, like, when you go to the gym and start seeing results, do you stop? Like, it's a choice.
Like that analogy. Yeah.
Is it a lifestyle? Like, or is this important to your health, therefore you value it? Or is it a quick fix, right? You're looking for a quick fix to fix your 20 years worth of bad habits, right?
Yeah.
Like then it's probably not a good fit. And I'm pretty straight, upfront with people when they walk in our office. I'm like, we're a lifestyle office. Like,
I just saw you walk in, buddy. It's going to take some
yeah.
time.
No, it's more so it's like wellness. Like, are
Yeah.
you here for wellness? Or are you trying to treat sickness, but this is all you're going to do about it?
Yeah.
Because, like, we see people, 5 minutes out of their week. What are you doing the other bazillion minutes?
Yeah.
That's up to you.
It's literally 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the initial and all that is longer. But I would say
Okay.
people are in our office from like 7 to 10 minutes when they're typically getting their like regular adjustment. And people love that because we see people who are high achievers, fast paced lifestyle. They're like, okay, perfect. On my way to work, I'm going to stop. I'm going to get my adjustment. I'm going to keep rocking.
I'm going to start just in and out.
Yeah.
So I guess, you talked about all the things chiropractic care can do. For me, 35 years old, I think of, if I don't have back pain
Mhm.
or issues, I don't need to go to a chiropractor. I'm probably wrong, or like I could probably benefit from it. I don't necessarily need to go, but I could
Yeah.
benefit from it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you think, hey, or anything that's not that commonly known that like this would be a good idea to see a chiropractor, like something that's not as obvious as back pain?
Yeah. That's kind of the fun part of it is because a lot of people come in for those symptoms that are, neck pain, back pain, whatever. But then as we dive deeper into how they are, how their lifestyle is, what their stress levels are, how are they sleeping, like how do they feel like they're emotionally processing their life, that kind of stuff is when it gets really cool, because those are the things that we actually track. We're not hyper fixated on the back pain and the neck pain because, I mean, we're good at our job. That's going to go away quick. But the cool part is when they stick around, they'll be like, holy crap, I got a full night of sleep for the first time in 3 years. They'll be like, this is wild. And the reason being is because our nervous system controls everything. So if it's healthier and if it's able to support your body, you're able to produce melatonin better. You're able to downregulate your body and get that quality deep REM sleep.
Yeah. You don't get that anxiety rush at 2:30.
Yeah. I mean, and chances are you still will here and there.
Of course.
Because life and stress uncontrollable.
Yes.
But that's really the cool part. Or people will say, like, they get migraines every time they have one of their women will get migraines during their cycle. They're like, I've got it every cycle for 8 years, and they won't. And they'll be like, what the? And it's like, it's because your body is expressing life better. It's healthier, right? That's the goal of the adjustment from our standpoint, is yes, to reduce symptoms, but to improve your body's overall function. So you don't have to deal with the things that you just live with because it's you.
So it's not just an adjustment for your back, it's an adjustment for your life.
Yeah, basically. Catchphrase right
want
there.
To use that motto, go ahead. No, I mean, that's exactly the answer I was looking for. It's because I knew it was more.
Yeah.
But I just have never sat down and had a conversation like this.
No, absolutely.
And, I think it's helpful for listeners.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're looking for an answer, and I think it's pretty obvious now, like we talked about, just showing up and getting, adjusted. It's like I said, there's no such thing as a biological free lunch. Taking meds. Yeah. Right? Like, you can't just take a pill and have all your problems solved. I mean, it might work, but what's on the back end? What's down the road? 100%. But if there's these things you can do in a more natural way and have like a third party or like a second party viewing what I'm doing. So it's not just, hey, my neck and back pain, but like, what type of mattress are you sleeping on? Try a firmer one. Try this. You just have a whole different perspective that you can have all these pointers. That it's more of a full service, it seems like, than just like,
yeah, that's our big philosophy, is like, we're part of your life, and I'm annoying about it. I'm like, okay, you said you're starting to go to the gym. You going to the gym every time I'm adjusting these people? They're like, oh, not this week, which is totally fine. But I'm going to keep asking, because they want someone who's going to hold them accountable, and they're showing up to take care of their body in my space. So I'm going to show up for them to hold them accountable for their lifestyle outside of it.
Accountability partners are huge.
Yeah. Even if it's just for 5-10 minutes.
Well, but just like, yes, I'm sure you're not pressuring them, but just asking.
Yeah.
Because they know.
Hey, you wanted to do this. Did you do it?
Exactly. Because everyone usually knows what to do, but who's going to do it consistently?
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
What's, it sounds like things are going well. It seems like you're doing exactly what you want to be doing. Do you have a vision of like how you can kind of evolve from what you're doing now? I mean, would it be a growth of like, I would love an office in Camillus and Fayetteville? Or would it be more of like, I'd like to offer more services, or just, more of like a business standpoint?
Yeah.
Is there anything that like is kind of on the horizon in a sense, or like you would entertain doing?
A little
just
bit
getting
of
more
like
clients,
all of that. Yeah, we still could grow in our current space. I love to look ahead. That's like my problem is I need to live, live in the now. But we're definitely looking at a potential of a second location. My husband's looking at maybe like Liverpool area. It's all just, we're kind of just trying to just be for a little bit, because we're only 1.5 years old. We'll be 2 years in July, and it's been a lot of growth really fast, which is a blessing, but it's also like, you want to make sure you're refining and making sure what you're creating is reproducible, but also like the quality of care is still immaculate.
Yeah, you don't want to dilute
exactly
what you have going.
Yeah, that's what my business coach says. She says, calm down.
Yeah.
But I want to do all the things.
I just say any sort of entrepreneur is always looking like, I could do this and then grow here. And, it's not even so much like, of course, like making money is great, but it's not even more. It's just it's just, it's like, if you're not moving forward, you're kind of going back. So you always have that itch to keep going.
It's the dopamine hit.
But like sometimes you got to be like, all right, let's refine. Let's get really good at what we're doing, and then grow in a way that every time we grow, it's just still that consistent, great product that we should be giving our clients.
Exactly. We want to make sure everyone's getting the best.
Yeah. Tip of advice for a listener. What is one thing they can do right now that would help them tremendously, from like your standpoint, like, whether it's back pain or whatever, like one little thing that you're like, oh, I see people do this all the time. All they have to do is this. Like, what kind of comes to mind when I say something like that? Is there anything?
Hard one.
Yeah, I don't mean to put you on the
no,
spot.
it's okay. Yeah.
But like, I mean, even as simple as sitting up like this in your chair, right? Or not having your head down for 7 hours a day. Like, is there anything that kind of comes to mind that, you see with people that is like, oh, this might be an easy fix for any general
population
listener?
Yeah, I mean, I would
Stretching.
say start paying attention to yourself. Like, pay attention to the way you do things. How are you driving the car? Are you leaning forward all the time? Like you said, how are you sitting in your chair? Are you slouched down? Are you sitting properly? Do you have lumbar support in your chair? Another one is like, when you're choosing to move your body, like, have you ever looked in a mirror while you're doing it? Do you look like you're doing it symmetrically? Like, do you feel like when you look in the mirror in the morning, one shoulder is lower than the other? Do you notice your posture from a side angle, like getting a little humpy? Just things like that, starting to bring awareness to your own body, taking control of your own health, right? And those are things you can just simply observe and change, because it's a pattern, right?
Yeah.
And it takes time to break it, but the more you become aware is the first step to changing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's great general advice, and I mean, as well, right?
Yeah.
What it reminds me of is, what I've made a recent change. It was my wife showed me. It was a Mel Robbins, I think, clip, on social media. But the whole point is like, as you know, I'm sure it's kind of hard, right? I use social media for business, so I kind of have to be on there.
Yep.
And it's nice to keep updated with people.
Yeah.
But you find yourself in these scrolls.
Oh, yeah.
And you're,
The doom
45.
scrolling.
Yeah. And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I was on the phone for 5-6 hours today. Like, that's like a work day.
Yeah.
And she pointed out that if you go into your accessibility and change your color filter to grayscale, you could still functional phone for what you need to do.
Yeah.
But you don't have that itch to keep scrolling. You don't get that dopamine hit because it's black and white. It's not entertaining.
So the way the brain interprets it is different.
Yeah, it literally just like dropped my screen time down hours because I just don't even ever have those like, oh, South Park, whatever it is that just catch it like, oh, that's a hilarious clip. I want to watch it. But it's like, it's one of those things of like taking notice. Like if you don't realize, all of a sudden you're like, look at your screen time on your phone. You have hours that like,
that's
imagine
a really good
you can have a doctorate in like a few years from what you watch on social media. So it's like those little things, but like also sound advice for, your body, like anything, just take notice.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
We never pause. And
pausing
is when we find the most out, especially about ourselves. Sometimes it's terrifying.
Yeah, exactly.
Be in the silence of your own head, but it's good. It's needed.
Yes. Well, that's another thing too. Always being busy.
And
like you
so bad for our
no
nervous
time
systems.
to reflect.
Yeah.
No time to reflect.
Yeah.
That's one thing I find cannabis useful for.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it gives you anxiety. Like, yeah, but I'm not someone who's ever really anxious.
Yeah.
So it's good to have a little anxiety because it helps me think about, oh, maybe I should check in here, or do this. It like, kind of just puts me in a different frame of mind, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
But like it kind of helps you reflect in that way. And it's like, it gives you that anxiety to make a change and to face it.
Yeah.
Where like, I was like, man, I didn't even realize
things.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, just, it's interesting that like how you can kind of go through life in autopilot.
Yeah, you can.
And it's not the way to do it if you want to improve.
No. And for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're all running a mile a minute. So.
Sam, well, appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you making the time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Now, I'm sold. Like I said, I've never been, but I'm going to come check it out.
Awesome.
And I think, like I said, there's just even if it's preventative, I'm sure it'll do a lot. But I guess before we go, if someone is inclined to, potentially come check, your services out, what's the easiest way to get in touch? Just social media, or just look you up.
Instagram.
Just book
good
an
old
appointment.
Google. Yeah, we have online booking.
Perfect.
They can call if they want to ask questions. We're active on social media, all the things. It's just Primal Chiropractic.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Yeah, of course.